Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the internet, and welcome to World Debuff, Nerfed at Birth, the show where the takes are going to be bad, the stats are worse, and we're all just wiping the life's mechanics. I am your host, Noob Zero Gaming, and I hope you're all ready to get nerfed. This is going to be episode 1. I got a couple of these episodes planned, but this one is all about the state of gaming, or some states of gaming, where we're going to get more into, I guess, the Game Awards. If you watch the Game Awards, this is a bit older, so it's a bit late to the show. But we all know there was some heavy hitters to be shown at the Game Awards, as far as some trailers. Like we had Divinity, we had FOTOR, we had the Tomb Raider games, Lara Croft. We had so many games, but that's not the take of this episode. That's not the discussion point of this podcast episode. This discourse between you and I in this comment sections below, and this is more taking a look at the final game that was shown, which was Highguard, which seems to be another hero shooter. And which is okay, I guess. I'm not a fan of hero shooters, but that's not the issue I'm having with the whole Highguard announcement. It's more the discussion around Highguard and the quote-unquote games journalists' take on Highguard that you can find out on the internet, where they're rushing to defend this game. The game that is now being dubbed Concord 2. Or as I like to call it, Concord with mounts, honestly, because that's what it reminds me of. Because if you watch the trailers, if you watch the Concord trailer, and then you watch the Highguard trailer, right? There are some similarities, guys. There's some very similarities, especially in the music, the cinematography, the overall just vibe of the trailers. And it kind of gets you worried. But the main issue is the defense that's being ran by a games journalist. You have a former IGN writer. I cannot think of his name; it's slipping my mind. But he was on Twitter, basically telling us that we need to chill. None of us have played the game. We need to go back to a time where we just play games and then judge the game. Which sounds like on paper a sentiment that people would want to get behind. But honestly, it's a terrible sentiment. It's terrible. Because I think we're now living in an age of rapid information. Rapid information. And how fast we're able to kind of come to terms with what we're seeing and what we're getting. And we have enough data points on the board now to connect some dots. And with this game in particular, right, it's not looking good. The characters seem very uninspired. I didn't walk away from the Game Awards thinking, oh my God, I cannot wait to play Highguard. This is like a game that I must play. And Keely kind of hyped it up, right? Keely hyped it up all through the night, like from the time it started to the time that premiered, about the studio behind it breaking away from, I guess, the bigger industry to go off to make their own title, which is great. I'm glad that we have more studios doing that. But then Highguard was revealed, and we watched what we watched, and I just remember thinking, huh. So I guess that's another hero shooter, right? Because it did nothing. It was uninspired, in my opinion. It was just very uninspired. It was like, I've been there, done that. I mean, it didn't look any different from the cookie cutter hero shooters that we have already had. And I just don't understand the defense of this game, because you could argue the same arguments to the people that are trying to defend it. Well, you haven't played it, and you don't know what it's like either. But we do have other games that look just like this, and they have failed. They have went downhill. Concord was the big one that closed the studio. Marathon's coming out, and it doesn't look any better. You have the Overwatch 2. I'm not really part of that community. I can't really comment on how Overwatch 2 is doing. I'm not sure. Marvel Rivals is obviously falling off. It's not at the height of popularity that it was, and I think we're having a hero shooter fatigue. It kind of reminds me of the battle royales, right? There for a while, it was like battle royale, battle royale, battle royale, battle royale, just hitting, and we got tired of battle royales. I mean, that's just what happens. That's the nature of the beast, because now you had hero shooter, hero shooter, hero shooter, hero shooter, and you're just tired of them, because after a while, there's a blueprint, and you can see companies are following the same blueprint. And I feel the same thing for Highguard, right? I feel like they just looked at the blueprint and they're following it. It's just a cookie cutter game. There's nothing special about it. There's nothing that stands out to me. I didn't see a single character in it that I was like, oh man, that's a character I really like. I want to know more about that character. No, I don't really care about the characters. I mean, it literally is Concord with mounts. I mean, what are we even talking about here? And I think there's enough data on our board to support that. I think this game is DOA, or it is dead before Arrival, really, if we want to be honest with the sentiment going around the game. I don't think this developer is going to have this windfall success that they're thinking they're going to have. Obviously, they had a lot of faith in the project to get it to premiere as that final trailer at the Game Awards, but I don't see it, guys. I don't see it taking off. But my issue is just, what is with quote unquote games journalists running to this defense, and you even see them making up features that aren't even shown in the trailer. Like there's a video, I will find it and link it in the description, where the guy is just really just spouting off nonsense. It's like making up pretty much made up features just to help sell his argument on the game, right? It's like, bro, you haven't even played it. Like, what are you even talking about? What, you're no better than the people saying it's dead on arrival. You're trying to build up this game in your head that's not even out. The same way they're tearing a game down in their head that's not even out. Me, I'm in the camp that this is going to be a dead game. I don't see it taking off unless you launch this thing at like free to play. Maybe you do an early access free to play where you work with the community to help build this game into something great. But if this is like a full price game or even a half price game, I just don't see people really buying into the project and really pushing it, because what does your game do that's different than what Overwatch does? Or what does this game do that is different than like Concord did? Or what does it do that's different than what Marvel Rivals is doing? And I feel like the hero shooter genre isn't going anywhere, but I think the height of popularity, that popularity wave, is now on the downfall. It's like on a downward trend. And I think the extraction shooters are probably on the upward trend with the success of like Art Raiders. I do see more people or more companies now moving to that blueprint. Like if you follow their companies and what they do, these big companies, they go on to where the money's at, right? They're going to follow what's successful. And right now, hero shooters are not successful. And Marathon's going to be the same way. It's going to launch and crash. But with the how popular Art Raiders is and how popular Art Raiders continues to be, even though I'm not a fan of extraction shooters, I'm not like a huge Art Raider person. I do not really play Art Raiders other than just I drop in with some friends every now and then, and I just do it for the love of the game. I don't care about upgrading. I don't upgrade nothing. I just go in and kill people, get my loot off their bodies, and get out. That's how I play Art Raiders. But I can still see Art Raiders. I can see the appeal of Art Raiders, right? I can see why people are drawn to Art Raiders. I can see why it won the award it did at the Game Awards. I understand why it's popular. I can understand that blueprint. I understand how addicting that gameplay loop can be. And I think that's the next blueprint that's going to be followed. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think I am. I think in the future we're going to see more extraction shooters. We've been seeing them dabble. Like we've seen Call of Duty dabble. We've seen Obviously, the Division, they had their extraction shooter in the Dark Zone, and now we've actually had an extraction shooter that hit, you can say, quote unquote, mainstream, where normies are loving Arc Raiders, right? Because it's everywhere, and I mean, I think the sales and the player count kind of speaks for itself, and now that is going to be where these companies move, love it or hate it. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more extraction shooters come out here in the future, where we've had some hits and some misses. I mean, when I think of extraction shooters, obviously Tarkov comes to mind, and Arc Raiders, Marauders was another one that looked really cool to me. Never got to play it, but it did look really cool. I had a friend that played it. He said it was really good. And we have the PUBG developer developing their own extraction shooter, which I will be getting because PUBG is what got me into battle royales. I still think it's the king of battle royales. It peaked at PUBG and it never got any better for me when it came to BRs. So I'm going to give their extraction shooter a chance as well. So I guess the whole point of this is I don't understand like what people are thinking. Like, why do they feel like, especially now in the time we live in, where we see games that do launch, like they give us a trailer that they got, and most of the time you can infer that that game is going to be good or bad based off that first impression. That trailer was everyone's first impression to Highguard, and I think majority of people are saying that, you know, this game is dead. Like, there's no, like, I don't want to say there's no hope, because there's always hope for a game depending on how you launch it, how you decide to go from this point. Do you delay it? Do you scrap the characters? Do you try to design more compelling characters? Do you give us more in-depth details about how your game is going to stand out? Which honestly just look like Overwatch to me. I mean, literally look like Overwatch game modes. It looked like Overwatch as characters. Like, I see nothing that says I'm going to buy this game. I would buy Marathon before I would buy this game, and I had no intention of buying Marathon. But if someone told me, "Hey, all right, Zero, you have to choose Marathon or Highguard. What are you choosing?" Easy, Marathon. I go with Bungie, and Bungie is not a good company right now. Like, they haven't really made any W's recently, but I would go with Marathon because it looks more compelling to me. And I don't know. It's weird because I do think Marathon's going to be an extraction shooter in it. Is Marathon a hero shooter or an extraction shooter, or is a mix of both? Maybe it was a mix of both, because I think you get like special quote unquote heroes in Marathon, but I think it was a hero shooter. But I would get Marathon. That's the point. And Highguard is just not even on my radar at all, which kind of sucks because the studio that's developing Highguard is a very talented studio. Like, for those of us that did play the Titanfall series, we know Titanfall is a extremely good game. And I think a lot of us was hoping for Titanfall 3, like that was going to be what was announced. And that's not what we got. They did make Apex, which I wasn't a fan of Apex as far as BRs. So I don't know, you know, that's another kind of, you know, I wasn't a huge fan of Apex. I played it for a little while and I was like, no, this ain't for me. It ain't for me, Chief. I can, you know, I don't know. I just always went back to like the simpler, I guess you could say, simpler BRs that didn't have all these powers, all this crazy movement. I enjoy, like I said, PUBG. I played the original Warzone. I don't play Warzone at all anymore. I don't play any BRs anymore. I do like Battlefield. I did not like Red Sect. Again, I think it's just one of those things where when I was coming up and through this time, that was the big push on, I guess, my generation. I'm kind of older, you know. I was part of that BR push that the industry did. Also, will probably be part of the hero shooter push, and I'm going to be part of the extraction shooter push. And honestly, of the three pushes, I think extraction shooters are more fun. The only problem I have with extraction shooters, I gotta like the aesthetic, and I think that's the thing I don't like about. So I think that's why I can't really get into Art Raiders. I'm not crazy about that aesthetic. I was really thinking more on the lines of like, man, could you imagine like if Naughty Dog did a game like Art Raiders? For me, I think that would have been a knockout of the park. Like they really missed the shot there when they could have took their factions. Was it Last of Us factions, that multiplayer mode? If you would have turned that into a game similar to Art Raiders, but you was like in the Last of Us universe, instead of robots, you had like the infected you was having to deal with to go in and get supplies for your community. Like you could choose a community. You could actually have factions that you was working with, and you could have brought your resources back there, and you could have kind of built up from there. I think I would have had way more fun with that aesthetic than I do with Art Raiders. And that's, again, not to say Art Raiders is a bad game. I think Art Raiders is a good game. I see the appeal. This is no hate on Art Raiders. It's just not for me personally. Like, it's not my go-to game. Whereas I think if Last of Us had a game similar to that in that world, that would pull me in. Or something, even not Last of Us, something more post-apocalyptic like that. Like, I like stuff like that. That's more my genre. That's more my cup of tea than like futures, dystopian, sci-fi stuff. Never been a huge fan of that. Now, high fantasy sci-fi like Mass Effect, love it. But the post-apocalyptic sci-fi like Terminator, obviously like Terminator, Art Raiders, things of that nature where robots have sort of taken over. Never been a huge fan. But yeah, that's just kind of what I wanted to talk about, was like first impressions of a video game I feel like they can be made just from a trailer. A trailer, especially like that. I would say it's harder with a cinematic trailer because cinematic trailers are tricky, right? Because you can think back to Avowed, its initial cinematic trailer. When you looked at Avowed's initial cinematic trailer, it looked dark, it looked grimy, it looked very, very different than what we got when it launched. But when you give a trailer that has gameplay like that, you can kind of infer what the gameplay is going to be like, and you can kind of infer, like, gamers aren't dumb, and contrary to popular belief, gamers aren't this group of vitriolic people who are just out to kill games. Like, we want good games. That's kind of what we do. That's our hobby. We want good games to play. We will give you money for good games. It's just, you got to make good games, and whenever we see something that we do not like, we're going to call it out. And I think Highguard deserves to be called out. I don't think it should have gotten that last slot because it's just a generic hero shooter, man. That's the only way I can that's the only thing I can say about it. I walked away just, not impressed. Very, very, very disappointed that they got that last spot. They must have paid a lot of money for that spot, because that spot really should have went to Fate of the Old Republic or Divinity. You should have closed with one of those. That would have been a showstopper. I don't know why he decided to let that be the closer. Maybe it was because of what he said. We're going to be playing it in January, I think. It was launching in January. I think it was very, very close, but I don't look for the early reviews to be good from players. I can see games journalists, quote unquote, eating it up. I can see this being an IGN 7 where they say, oh, it's fun, just uninspired, go play it. I don't see them actually giving it a score it probably deserves. I'm going to say it's going to be about a 5 out of 10 game. Let's be real, and that's being kind of generous. Maybe a 6 if you're fiending for a new hero shooter. Of course, you're always going to have the stands that say it's the best game ever. I mean, there were people who loved Concord like that and said that it was a great game, which I'm not denying it could have been a good game, but Sony kind of dropped the ball. It too was uninspired, and it didn't do anything different than another hero shooter, and that's the issue. It's just another hero shooter in a long list of hero shooters, and none of the characters stand out. Like, none of the characters stand out. The designs are just generic. It just looks like standard fantasy characters, kind of. What was the guy? The poster boy. He just has this big spear and just like some plate armor. I mean, okay, just like I guess I I, I don't even want to know who you are. I don't even care about your story. You just look like a generic fantasy guy. Um, it don't look like it's gonna be any characters in there. I could be wrong, but right now, from what I've seen, it doesn't look like there's any characters in there. It's like, oh my god, he's a badass. Oh my god, now that's a character I would like to play and get good with. Like, at least Overwatch had Bastion. I love Bastion. Bastion is the whole reason I played Overwatch. I don't like hero shooters, but Bastion got me to play Overwatch. Got me to play Overwatch for a while. Had Bastion not been there, I probably wouldn't have played Overwatch. I was seeing Bastion, I was like, holy crap, this dude's awesome. I want to play as this guy. I want to learn more about Bastion. And Genji, too. When I seen that trailer for Genji, holy shit, I was like, dude, I'm on board. I am on board. The first Overwatch, I was on board. And I just didn't get that feeling from Highguard. So, I don't know. I just think the games journalists, they just think us gamers are dumb. They think we just spew hate, but that's really not the case. I don't feel like that's the case. Of course, it's out there. Just like it's out there to overinflate your love for a game. Bad games, like it's all what's the word? Manufactured. It's all manufactured. There's manufactured hate. There's manufactured love. But I think majority of people, have common sense. Majority of gamers, like I said, they just want good games. That's all we want. You don't see much hate coming towards Tomb Raider. The Tomb Raider reboots, most of it's getting love. They're getting a lot of love right now, and that's a good thing. I'm really looking forward. I'm gonna buy both of those Tomb Raider games. I grew up on Tomb Raider though. I grew up on Lara Croft. Like me and my dad used to sit and play Lara Croft. So I'm excited for Lara Croft. I'm excited for a return to form for Lara Croft. I cannot wait to jump into those games. I would have been more happy, more satisfied had that show ended with Lara Croft than it did with Highguard. And that's also the problem. Like, I've seen the argument that, Highguard was the last trailer, and it's getting over hate because it didn't live up to that last trailer hype. And I don't even believe that. I don't even buy that, because you could have placed that anywhere else in there, and would it have taken a bit of heat off of it? Sure, but not much. I think the best place you could have put that trailer is at the very start of the show. That should have been the first trailer you showed off. You could have still went in with the hype. Keighley could have went in with, this is from this studio. They made Titanfall. They made Apex Legends, and this is their next game that we're going to get to play soon. You still could have hyped it up, and it still could have been the first game. And I think I still would have walked away like, oh, okay, well, it's just the first game, so maybe it gets better from here. And if you would have started with that, ended with, like I said, Divinity, Fate of the Old Republic, or Tomb Raider for me, for that matter. Tomb Raider, I think, would have been the third choice. But those other two, you would have ended with that. Oh, man. This would have been, like, the most memorable Game Awards for me. Because I'll be honest, after the FOTOR, I'm going to do a whole video on FOTOR. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about that series. Don't worry, it's going to be in this series, this podcast format. It's coming. That and Divinity. I can't wait to talk about that. I just wanted to get this one out the way because I had to talk about Highguard. But if you would have ended with that, Keighley, like, man, it would have just blown me away personally. Because, dude, I almost jumped up off the couch. I was laying on the couch, and when I seen FOTOR and then I seen Casey Hudson, dude, it was over. I damn near jumped up off the couch. I've never felt that much excitement for a game since I was younger. Like, it reinvigorated my excitement for the future, for something coming out. Like, I was really in it, and I hope this game actually makes it to launch. I hope it does not get canceled. I hope we do get to see it. We're still a ways out. Casey did say before 2030, but we'll get into that in the next one, probably coming up very soon. That may be the next one I do, then the Divinity one, because I have a lot to talk about with FOTOR and just the Old Republic series in general. And this is a good format to talk about it. But other than that, that's really all I want to talk about. That's all I want to get off my chest. It was just weird seeing this manufactured love going against manufactured hate, Although I do think there's a lot of genuine criticism coming at them. It's like genuine, like we've seen this before, and games journalists is doing games journalist things. But yeah, that's all. I want to know what you guys think. What do you think about Highguard? Do you think it's dead on arrival? Do you think it's hope? What would you do if you was what would you do if you was in these guys' shoes? Now you're seeing all this feedback coming at you. What would be your take on it? Like, how would you go about launching this game? As you know, my method, what I would do would be a early access, free to play launch. Work with the community, see what they like, see what they don't like, because you are still kind of a bigger studio. So even if this one misses, I don't think you're in any trouble. Just do better next time, or hear me out, stick with it, grind with it, work with your players, and No Man's Sky this bitch. You know, you could turn this into a special kind of hero shooter, and who knows, I might be playing it one day, and if I do, we'll talk about it, you know. So just let me know your thoughts below. I'm eager to hear from you. And as always, this is your guy, Zero. I will be with you with the next one. You guys stay safe, stay happy. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you on the next one.